Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be doing something special and drawing myself into anime screenshots. And the very first screenshot that I'm going to draw myself into today is going to be from my favorite anime, Yumeiro Patissiere. So it took me a while to find one that I liked, but eventually I decided on this one because I felt like there was plenty of space to add myself. I actually took this screenshot myself from the anime. Anyways, let's get started on the process so you can see how it works when you're drawing yourself into an anime screenshot if you want to try it for yourself. So the very first thing that I do is I find a screenshot from a different scene and I insert it into this scene so I can trace it to make my characters pose, because I probably don't want them to be exactly like the other characters in this scene, and it helps me keep it consistent with the style if I trace. I normally don't trace, but for this type of video, I think it's just fine. You just gotta be honest about if you trace or not. You wouldn't want to trick anybody, and you could definitely do this without tracing, but I think that it helps me get the style better, and I just like to do it for this type of video. I don't normally trace for anything else, but for this, I just feel like it's the best. So for example, right here, I copied the head of the girl from this scene. Her name is Ichigo, but then I took her body from a different scene so it wouldn't look exactly the same, because obviously that would be just a bit too obvious. And so right here, I am beginning to color. It's usually good to try to color pick from other parts of the picture for your coloring. That way it'll stay consistent with the color palette of the show. I was a little bit nervous to color my eyes. I have gray eyes and I feel like sometimes they're a little bit difficult to draw because I just never really know what color to use. By the way, this is what I look like in real life. This clip is from a line challenge I did with my sister, but yeah, that's me. And so at this point I noticed that I did the liner originally way too thin, so I tried to make it thicker, but it was really hard to get that perfect medium. I was struggling a good bit. Maybe while I'm doing that, I could talk a little bit more about the anime. So in Yumeiro Patissiere, multiple middle schoolers are all going to the same school, St. Marie Academy, to learn more about making pastries. And a young girl who has an amazing sense of taste is recommended by a famous pastry chef to join the school. The school is super excited for her to come, and they end up putting her in the class with all the best students. However, she's never made sweets before at all, and she happens to be terrible at it. Besides Ichigo, the top of the class is made up of 3 boys, which are nicknamed the Sweets Princes. Their names are Ando, Hanabusa, and Kashino. And Kashino is not too happy about Ichigo joining, and he is very afraid that she will end up putting down their grades. Ichigo is super discouraged. She joined this school because she thought that for once she'd actually have something she's talented at, but she can't believe that she's so terrible at it, and with the pressure of all the other students, what is she supposed to do? However, that's when the magical fairy Vanilla shows up. She is able to help Ichigo learn more about making sweets, and in the process, Ichigo ends up making lots of friends, and a story is born. I like the show so much, not only because it has lots of sweets, but also because I love the friendships, I love the romance, and overall, it's just so funny and humorous. I don't know how to explain it easily. It's such a good show, and I really recommend it. I feel like I explained the series a little bit better in this video that I made kind of recently, where I was also talking about Yumeiro Patissiere, but I tried. I wanted to do a description that explained the show differently this time, so yeah. Oh, and before I start talking about the drawing again, in this actual screenshot that I'm drawing myself into, what is happening is Kashino is really exhausted because there's this girl he hates, and it's kind of complicated, but basically he always gets really freaked out whenever he hears her name or anything at all, so he's upset about that, and the others are concerned for him. The 2 boys are helping him walk, actually. And there's this cake contest going on, and the rival team ends up seeing them, and that's where the screenshot is taking place, when the rival team catches sight of them. And now that I finished talking about all of that, let's go back to the process of my artwork. So right here I was getting much more happy with it, but I still feel like things are a little bit weird. I feel like the way that they draw like arms and everything in this show is way thinner than I normally draw it, so I needed to change that. I was also worried about the clarity of my picture. I felt like it was way too good and I was having trouble making it as bad as the quality of this screenshot. I tried doing a blurring effect, but that didn't really work. So the whole way that I draw myself into screenshots isn't really my own idea. It's inspired by Love to Draw Manga on YouTube. She's how I learned to do this, and what she usually does is she makes her image a lot smaller and then makes it bigger again, and then it gets this like pixelated effect on it, but for me it was just being too pixelated. It wasn't working. Usually it does work though, so I don't know why this time it was being so difficult. I also felt like the values of my drawing were a little off, and I was having trouble copying the uniform properly for some reason. I don't know why, but this anime's art style gave me so much trouble. I guess I've never really drawn in this style. I don't know, it was just giving me a really hard time. Oh, and I also wanted to outline Ichigo's pigtails because I felt like my line art for my character was making her pigtails look really weird. It was like drowning them out. I don't know how to explain it, just I needed to re-outline them to make it look a little bit better. things still weren't going my way, but I was hopeful that I could make something work because I did come up with an idea that I felt like maybe, just maybe, would be able to fix the issues I was running into. This was definitely very, very hard. I feel like it was not an easy first anime to draw myself into for this video, but that's okay. So my idea was to go into an online photo editor, not on my art app, and the certain filters that they have there would help me kind of match in the screenshot more, and I could do things to put down the clarity on the editor because my art app, Medibang Paint, doesn't really have that many filters that I can use that I felt like would be very helpful. For some reason I kept trying to blur it, but that was not helping. So I pretty much just added a few more things while it was still in my art app, and then I took it into the photo editor, and after a little bit, here is how it looks. I definitely am happy with it. I don't know if I fit perfectly, but I think it looks pretty cute and was fun to do. And so the other screenshot that I'm gonna draw myself into for this video is from my favorite Studio Ghibli movie, Whisper of the Heart. And after a bit of looking, this is a scene that I ended up deciding on. I felt like I could fit in pretty well, and also I just really like this scene. So yeah, let's not delay any longer and just get started on the actual artwork. So for the person to trace for this screenshot, I also spliced together two scenes, but this one looks very, very cursed. I don't know, I just think she looks very scary the way that I edited her, but it worked pretty well for tracing, so I don't think I regret it, actually. The character that I'm tracing here is the main character's best friend, Yuko. I was very, very excited to draw myself into this anime. I've loved it for so long, and I've actually wanted to draw myself into a scene from it for a while, so I was happy to finally do that. To be honest though, I've always felt like I kind of already am in the movie because I relate to the main character, Shizuku, so much. She acts exactly how I acted at that age, and I feel like it's just such an accurate depiction of a young girl like that. She had my personality, and I really like her. If you've never seen the movie and you're curious about it, it's basically about a young girl who seems to waste her time reading fairy tales and has no clue what she wants to do in her future. She's only in middle school, but she feels scared about what's gonna happen in her tomorrow because she feels like she has nothing together at all. But then, one day, she follows a cat and it leads her to this antique store, and then the journey and the story begins. She ends up finding that she has a real love for writing, and she meets a new boy, and you know, the romance begins. I don't want to give any real spoilers, but the story is just so realistic and good. I just love it so much. Also, the way that the boy tries to get her to notice him, I don't want to spoil it, but it is the cutest thing. I love it so much. Also, this movie is to blame for me really liking antiques, especially old clocks, because an old clock that's in the movie, it's just so cool, and I ended up really loving those type of things with such, people work so hard on these things back then, and it's super cool. If you want to watch a really cute, realistic, and good romance movie, I would super recommend it. It's so good. I recently just watched it with my friend. She saw it for the first time, and she absolutely loved it. I was so excited that she loved it. She described it exactly how we always have, me and my sister, and I was so excited, guys. It was so fun. We actually have so many movies we've been wanting to show her. We really wanted to show her Suzume because I feel like that's probably my favorite anime movie, that or Your Name, but Whisper of the Heart is my favorite Studio Ghibli film. But anyways, we also really want to show her Howl's Moving Castle because that's also super good, so I don't know what we'll show her next, but it's fun getting to watch movies together. Back to the drawing though, so the reason that I made myself in this scene, other than the fact that I really loved it, is I felt like I would definitely be one of Shizuku's friends. I mean, if I couldn't be her, I would be one of her friends. I feel like I would definitely get along with them, so that's why I decided to draw myself in here. The other screenshot, the first one I did, I decided to make myself on Team Ichigo because I feel like I'd be friends with Ichigo, but maybe I'd actually be on a different team just because each team is only supposed to have 4 members and I would make it 5, but that's okay. You know how for the last drawing I had the issue of making the line art too thin? Well, for this one I had the opposite issue and I originally made it too thick, so here I was making it a bit thinner to try to make it look better. After I finished that, I knew I'd have to switch on to doing the eyes, but I was nervous for them because I already stand out with my lighter hair in this picture, and I knew I'd stand out even more with gray eyes. They're just such a light color, and I knew it would stand out with everybody else in this picture having dark eyes. I did get reference though of a Studio Ghibli girl with blue eyes. I've never watched this movie, but I thought she'd be good reference. I do have gray eyes, but it's pretty close, so I decided to use it for reference. Because I at least wanted it to fit in the Studio Ghibli style, even if it wasn't like the other girls in this picture. I was also having trouble with shading my hair because I didn't really know what color to pick because there was nothing, like, all the girls' hair is darker than mine, like I said, so I didn't know what color to pick to make it, like, match with theirs, so I just kind of chose something random until I felt like it looked good and went with that. Oh, and I was also resizing it here to try to see if I could get it to have the same quality as the original screenshot, but it wasn't really working, so I knew that again I'd probably have to put it into my photo editor at the end of this. But I wasn't too upset about that, I mean, that's fine. I was also trying to see if I wanted to change my nose or anything to look a little bit different from the original screenshot that I traced, but I didn't feel like it. I liked it the way it was, so I pretty much just left it. I didn't make too many changes. It was very fun overall drawing the Studio Ghibli style. I've done it a few times before, and every time I enjoy it. There's something about the style that's just fun. If you've never tried it, I would recommend doing that because, like I said, it's just an entertaining style to try to copy. Also, you should totally try drawing yourself into anime screenshots if you haven't. It's so rewarding to see yourself in the scene. I don't know, it's really worth your time. Like, for real, try it. It's a lot of fun. Oh, and also I added an eyelash onto myself because I have kind of prominent eyelashes, so I wanted to keep that in my character for this. In a moment here, we're gonna move on to the real-time footage, and this time I filmed the real-time footage in my photo editor. Since I don't usually even use a photo editor for my drawings, I thought it'd be so fun for you guys to be able to see it. It's just so different from usual that I don't know, I thought it'd be really entertaining, so I decided to film it. Right before that though, I did add just a few more effects. Okay, and so now here I am in the photo editor. The photo editor that I actually use is called pixlr. I've been using it for a few years and I really like it. They have lots of good filters. I just think it's useful and relatively easy. The main filters that I decided to use for this were the glamour effect, which kind of helps it look more like the screenshot, and I also either edited the vibrance up or down, and I also did a little bit of a blurring effect. In this footage though, I'm mostly just switching between a bunch of different filters trying to decide if I feel like using them or not, so yeah. My favorite effect that I added onto this screenshot that I think helped it look the most like the original was this add noise texture. It doesn't look exactly like the screenshot if you do zoom in, but without zooming in, it just makes it look so much better. It gives us this more pixelated look that looks natural. I feel like it looks really good and helps it match. But you know, that is pretty much the final effect, and now we can finally move on to seeing the finished pictures. So here we are. Here is the finished screenshots that I drew myself into. This video was so much fun. If you guys liked it, please like, subscribe, and I'm gonna see you on the next one. Have a great day, and bye for now!